What's up YouTube? Shamu Aquatics here, bringing you guys another video, and I am finally giving you guys an update on my friend's 135 gallon planted aquarium. And as you can see, it is now full of fish. All of the fish have been moved from his 75 gallon into his new 135, along with a few newcomers. And I will start off by saying he moved his fish way too soon and way too fast. So what the plan was supposed to be was that we take that sponge filter from the 75 and put it in here, and then take a few fish from the 75 and put them in here and leave it that way for a couple weeks. But okay, let me start off by saying he moved the sponge filter and his Bosemani rainbows into this tank. And then a few days later, he decided to move he wanted to move his roseline sharks, aka Denison barbs, into this tank. And I tried telling him, no dude, it's way too soon. It's only been a few days. Let it sit like this for a couple weeks and then move the roselines. But he kept insisting that he wanted to move the roselines right then and there. And I'll start off by saying that the way he moved his Bosemani rainbows into this tank was not the way I would have done it. He used a couple small plastic Tupperware containers to move the Bosemani rainbows into this tank. And that's not how I would have done it. So when he kept insisting on moving his roselines into this tank, I knew that at that point, he was going to end up doing it himself, and he was going to use the same method with the Tupperware containers, which is a big no-no when it comes to roseline sharks, aka Denison barbs. It's already enough of a big no-no when it comes to pretty much most aquarium fish, but you do not want to do that with the roselines. They need oxygen, and they are notorious jumpers. So I said, screw it, and I got my 5-gallon bucket and my portable battery-powered air pump with an air stone, and I helped him move those roselines into this tank reluctantly, because at least might as well do it the safe way and not the stupid way with the Tupperware containers. And I gave in to his improper premature move of the roselines. But as an experienced fish keeper, I think that sometimes people do need to learn the hard way. So I did give in. I said, okay, not my tank, not my problem. You're gonna have to learn the hard way. So I helped him move those roselines into here. And then we waited. And then a few days later, on his own, he decided to go move his gouramis into this tank. And then the cories and the pleco and the plecos, 2 clown plecos and 1 female bristlenose pleco. And I'm just like, oh my God. And miraculously, there has not been a cycle crash. No fatalities. He did lose one of his female Bosemani rainbows like a few days ago, but it wasn't related to any cycle crashes or ammonia or nitrite poisoning or anything like that. There was no symptoms of that. It was something else. It was just being lethargic and not eating. It wasn't breathing all fast or heavy or anything. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that I cannot diagnose, because being lethargic and not eating, that can mean a million different things. So yeah, not related to any cycle issues. Everybody else is fine. Don't know what was wrong with that rainbow. But other than that, everything's been good. The fancy Oranda goldfish ended up staying in the 75. The albino rainbow shark ended up staying in the 75. But there are, along with all the fish that were moved into this tank, there are some newcomers. Like there's this Siamese algae eater that really needs to start putting on some weight. And there was also, my friend's mom wanted, like after we moved all the fish, my friend's mom wanted fish of her own to add to the 75 because she now owns the 75. And she ended up getting gouramis and Bosemani rainbows. Now, one of these blue opaline gouramis, it's this one, the male right here. One of these opaline gouramis was being a douchebag in the 75, so last night my friend and his girlfriend ended up moving this gourami into this tank, and so far so good. Hopefully no aggression issues in here either. This is a male. You can tell by the slightly longer fins, and then the other opaline gourami, as well as the two gold gouramis, they're females. So far so good. Okay, so I said the Siamese algae eater and the gourami already. He also added 3 more roseline sharks, aka Denison barbs. And man, look at these little itty bitty roselines. They are so tiny compared to the ones he already had in here. Now imagine these tiny little itty bitty roselines next to my giants in my 240 gallon. They chase each other quite a bit. But yeah, and then also he had the albino rainbow shark in the 75. Since his mom wanted to keep the albino rainbow shark, my friend went out and got this little rainbow shark. And so far he's decently chill. I've seen him chase the Siamese algae eater a couple times, but he's relatively chill. But since he's still a baby, he still has the potential to become very aggressive as he gets bigger. Especially once they reach that 3 or 4 inch mark. He's currently about 2.5 inches. So we're still keeping an eye on him. We got all the cories in here. Also, on the second day this tank was set up, my friend did end up taking a couple fish from the 10 gallon upstairs to use as his tester fish. There's this guppy, and then somewhere in here is a zebra danio. Oh, there it is. Yeah, they came from the 10 gallon. He used them as his tester fish, and they survived. They were survivors out of schools from the 10 gallon, like they're lone survivors. That's why they were put in here. The 10 gallon's a beta tank now. So they moved them into here. I don't think they like hanging out up top very much because of the current that's produced by the FX6 and the Higer wave maker up here. But whatever. Not my tank, not my problem, like I said before. I did recommend putting them back in the 10 gallon because there's way too much flow for them in here. But I did tell him in about a month or so he should get rid of that sponge filter, because by then I'm pretty sure the FX6 will have plenty of beneficial bacteria colonized up in it. There is a bit of an algae issue in here. I personally would let the algae grow on the back and just clean the front. You've probably seen some smudges of algae on the front glass already. That's why he has the mag float scrubber, or as I like to call it, the magnet of terror. And we got emerald cories, albino cories. I think that's a stir-by. Itty bitty rose lines that won't stop chasing each other all over the place. A little rainbow shark. These Bosemani rainbows, they got huge really quick. I have 7 Bosemani rainbows in my 240 gallon, and they're older than these guys. And yet, these ones grew way faster and got a lot bigger. I think this one right here is about 4.5 inches, while my largest one is probably like just under 4 inches. Especially, look at this chunky monkey. But yeah, we've done a few water changes on this tank. I don't know what kind of plants these are, but they're growing a lot of algae on them. And like I said before, a lot of algae growing on the glass. Even saw a good amount of algae growing on the substrate. It should work itself out over time. This seems to have a bit of new tank syndrome. And also, I've never seen jungle val melt like this before. But I told my friend, if he starts seeing the plants melting, not to just start going in there and throwing the plants away. Just give it a chance. Let those old leaves fall off and it'll start growing new leaves. Could also be due to the fact that these Hygger lights are pretty bright. I think this is like 1 or 2 clicks down. 2 clicks down? All right. Yeah. My friend's over here like holding fingers up. Yeah, it's 2 clicks down and look how bright it still is. Like if you have it full blast, it's just like, how are these fish not blind?
There's 4 stages.
Yeah, 4 stages of brightness on those Hygger lights. We still have some work to do with scaping. I just scared the crap out of that gourami. Oops. It's only a second day in this tank, so let's give them a break. But yeah, we still gotta take this Java fern, that Java fern, and these Anubias out of their pots. But we still gotta get the wood that's soaking outside. It is taking a lot longer than anticipated to soak the wood that we still have to put in here, simply because my friend has drained out the water a couple times and failed to put new water in. So he left the wood sitting out, drying up for like days at a time. So we'd end up being back to square one. It's still soaking outside right now. So it's gonna probably take a bit longer than we anticipated in order to get that wood sinking and no longer floating. But we're still waiting on that, and then we're gonna start tying those extra plants to it. Probably put it in this corner over here. Even though I only have 1 tank, in a way it kind of feels like I have 3 of them because I'm the one managing my friend's tanks. Like, I do water changes. I'm still doing the water changes, but he's got to learn how to do them himself eventually. And also, I did scape this tank, like, so this is in a way still my creation. Now, granted, he bought all the stuff, he chose all the stuff, and I just got in there and started scaping it, working with whatever he bought.
You and Carly.
Yeah, me and his girlfriend both scaped it together, while he sat back and watched and didn't do any work at all.
Pointing fingers.
Yeah, I'm over here talking crap on my beginner friend right in front of him right now. You are not intermediate. You are a beginner, sir. Just because you've been doing this for a year does not mean you're intermediate.
Probably.
I was in the beginner stage for the first 10 years of being in this hobby. I've been doing this for 20 years. He's over here like trying to correct me and shit. Yeah. It's gravel substrate. I was not expecting it to be this light in color. It's like a salt and pepper type look. But it looks nice. Still jealous as hell of his Bosemani rainbows, but I got the bigger rose lines, so I guess that's a fair trade-off. He got big Bosemani rainbows, and I got big roseline sharks, aka Denison barbs. Oh look, there's the bristlenose pleco going at the algae. Now, there's that pleco, and then there's 2 clown plecos in here. They're still struggling to keep up with all that algae. When I had my old foot-long gold spot pleco, that thing did an amazing job at cleaning the algae off the glass. But I got sick of the pleco turds. I used the classic zip ties to get these plants to stay on the driftwood. I was hoping to use black zip ties, but I could not find any at Target. And I was not willing to wait and keep going store to store, so I settled on the white ones. But so far the tank's looking all right. It just needs to settle in. I almost tripped on a table. Just needs to settle in, and then hopefully all will be good. Now, can't wait to show you guys what's going on in the 75. It's gonna make some of you guys rip your hair out, but like I said, not my tank, not my problem. Sometimes people just need to learn the hard way, and I'm letting my friend learn the hard way, but miraculously, no major things have gone wrong yet, despite all the sketchy things I've seen him do with his aquariums. But anyway, that's going to be all for today's video, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and feel free to chew my friend out in the comments.